Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our session this Saturday, 7th of November, already the 19th session. And I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Gilberto Martinez, one of the persons that I've known now in the course of the last year, and really, really excited to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks, Stefan, to inviting me. For inviting me in this session. It's great to actually be sharing all this information to all your forum that is hearing you and seeing you in this platform.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So let's jump right into it. We've seen it in the introduction that there is the theme of today will be data analytics, big data. So first of all, I would like you to give us a little bit of a context, right? What is it? What is this theme actually about? What is the technology about? What are the advantages, disadvantages, and basically what has been your touch? I consider you as one of the big practitioners in this field and semi-expert. So basically what that means is that you have been working in a multinational corporation, and you have been in one of the big manufacturing plants here in Mexico. So lots of data goes on, and of course you have been exposed to this. So can you give us a little introduction, please, on this specific topic of big data?
Definitely. Data is something that excites me a lot, right? It's something that when you are seeing all this type of interaction in all our processes, you always like to be having what it could happen, right? You always want to be seeing the future and what to do. So what it is data analytics, as you can see, is really a way to be taking decisions, educated decisions based on analytics or data that you are having up front, based on your process as well. So this allows every executive, every person that is managing any process or business to be actually doing again, good decisions and be competitive, right? There are four of them. There are four types of this data analytics that you can see. One of them is descriptive analytics, and that will show you more what happens in a business. The second one is very similar to the first one on the descriptive part. So one shows you what. The second one shows you what and how and why. Excuse me. So more than descriptive. So it's looking for reasons of what actually happened, right? So that's more like an RRCA or more like troubleshooting, or etc. But it will get a more advanced data. And again, on this predictive analytics, now in this third level, you are able to be seeing what could happen. Now you are getting more predictive. You're getting more ahead to what it will be happening upfront in your processes, right? And when that happens, you get a lot of power, right? You get more competitive, you get actually broad in all your decisions, so you are very ahead. But there is one that is actually more important. The end state is the prescriptive analysis. So what should happen? So you are actually now putting the algorithms, putting the ways or the steps that are required in order to be very, very prescriptive. So you are now taking the decisions very, very upfront with very good data. So this will give you the path to follow, in other words. So it's great actually be using the data, always a challenge anyway, but it will bring you back to the conditions of being very competitive in your businesses.
Very interesting. So if you see these four levels, right, of course, the four levels need different types of information, different types of technology behind it to gather the data, to analyze the data, and to actually take decisions based on that data.
Right.
If first in this session, we always look a little bit into the past, a little bit into the current, what's happening right now, what's the state of the art, what's maybe happening even due to COVID, right? Maybe what's changing in this specific field because of COVID, because we might not be able to be there in the plant all the time, and what's going to happen in the near close future. So therefore, I pulled up a little slide, and they call it the analytics Big Bang. So, and it shows a little bit the past, the present, and the future, and really from your personal perspective, what has been your experience over the last 20 years, the current situation, and what's going to happen maybe let's do this part first, past and present, to see what you believe is the current state.
Yeah, I've been in the industry more than 20 years, right? And as you can see, really, the beginning of my career, it was more about all this descriptive data, very similar to what you're seeing here in this type of trends that you are actually showing right now. So we're having from 1930s to 40s more about the Monte Carlo solutions, very similar or very simple linear programming. So that's actually what I got good experience at the very beginning of my career. But as you can see, I mean, that was really specific for big corporations or big companies that were able to be grabbing all this data. In my case, also starting in my career, as I was also moving on multinational companies as well, I was able to be seeing that this type of anxiety to be managing all this data was very key. So we pretty much were following this type of nonlinear programming, also computer-based heuristic problem solving in oral solutions, trying to put them also in manufacturing lines or manufacturing processes as well. However, I mean, more recently, as I grew in my career also, I started seeing more about the real-time analytics, excuse me, in this case. So we were getting more prescriptive, getting more about what and how or why we were able to be getting the solutions out of that data. So I was seeing, I was experiencing all these type of conditions growing up to a more leverage of this data as well. So how I was actually leveraging on that based on different data collection for our processes in terms of quality, in terms of the compliance or of different things in the processes or the flow. The production attainment that we typically have as key operation indicators. So all our KPIs in our businesses were actually more in real-time analytics as I was moving in my career. So I was seeing and experiencing all this growth. And then at the end, now I've been more and more involved in this type of industry 4.0, where we're getting really more analytics expertise, right? So getting the standardization of all this natural language processing, and really to be getting more, I would say, in the 21st century success job, where we are actually moving towards to be leveraging very good in this data, so we can be very predictive as well. So I've been touching all these type of situations in my previous experiences, and in my current one, we're actually moving towards more of this direction as well. So it's very exciting seeing more and more companies actually taking this as a big initiative and approach to be moving forward to the future.
I totally agree. So something really caught my attention now. So basically, if we look back between 2000 and 2010, most of the data was static, right? It maybe was in some kind of database or Excel sheet, and when we tried to analyze it, it was already historic data, right? It was already out, maybe even outdated. It was, for sure, it was not real or live data. And that's definitely something that has changed over the last 5 years. As you just said, right now we are analyzing information that's happening right now, right? Or maybe the last hour or the last minute, or even write the information up to date. So that's really a key takeaway from your time travel, or the travel through the last 20 years. And I think it makes a lot of sense that the big difference that we have now between analyzing stuff that has happened last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, last year, or analyzing something that's happening right in this moment with the revolutions of an engine or the vibrations of an engine right now, not what happened. Right. So with this now, of course, there is some opportunities and there is some challenges, right? You now need to have a different technology enabled to be able to look at this real data, and also algorithms enabled to look at this real data. So what have been for you the three key technologies that have enabled this live analysis?
Yeah, well, the very first one, of course, is getting a very good sense of what data you need to be collecting, right? I mean, to start with, right? I mean, to know what it is, the availability of the things that you are actually having in front of you. So the first one, or the first technology, is really to be getting all this data collection, understanding and actually be collecting them. One very important one, of course, you need to be having some sort of server, iCloud service or cloud service, excuse me, in this case, in order to be now using the data and leverage from that in order to be later on creating your trends, or also analyzing them, of course. And in some other point, one very important technology is to be now putting algorithms and of course a software that can really manage all the data for you, having a specific parameters that you can set up front in order to now be doing decisions according to that data. So it's about a source or data collection, also a software, of course, a cloud service or a server that can help you to be doing this collection as well, and then later on to be doing decisions according to an algorithm, etc.
Very interesting. And I think most of us that are in this area of manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, we clearly see the advantage, right, of having live data, of being able to create information out of data, or even wisdom out of data, right, which is one of the key difficulties. Why are not more companies doing it? Like, what are the challenges? And you sent me some information, and I will post it right now. So what's the real, like, if you look at the top 3 challenges, like why isn't there more stuff going on in this field right now?
I would say the very first one, blockage, is actually really the support from your leadership. I would say the pressure that you might be having on the top. I'm showing here 12 different ones, but I just go first to the ones that are actually the top ones, in my opinion. It's more about the top, or your staff, actually your leadership actually supporting all this. The other way, I mean, another different type of challenge is that you might be having a lot of different sources of your data. So you are not really creating a strategy to be getting all this data in and also getting some output for your decisions. So that also complicates your way to be taking decisions. And also, I would say another biggest one is the skills, right? I mean, what type of skills, what type of things you need to be having in order to be moving forward. Those are not really rocket science skills anyway, but you have to be taking some steps up front. So I'm showing here anyway 12 different ones, just to mention them very quick. I just point out on 3 more important ones. So the amount of data you are collecting is something that is very challenging, and then all these other things that you're going to be seeing up front is going to be creating you a way that you can understand all these challenges and what to do, so you can create a strategy up front.
Very good. So I understand that, yeah, and for sure, in this specific topic, and you have seen it in the past. I'm a big believer of bottom up push, right? I'm a big believer of really enhancing the ideas of the people on the shop floor, of the employees, right? To really make their ideas big. In this specific case, I do believe that there needs to be also a top-down strategy, upfront strategy, as most of the data needs to be fed into the KPIs, right? Or the key operational indicators. So there needs to be the request on this side, and then also the acceptance and the feeding of the information on that side. And I totally agree. For me, it's to be comprehensive in this approach is very difficult. Specifically thinking about who is currently at the top management, right? Maybe not necessarily all the data-driven people. It's really that is, right? So there's lots of emotion, and it's curious that you put in anxiety, right? Emotion, and currently we take a lot of decisions due to emotion, not much on basic data.
Correct. So it's always very challenging, right? I mean, as I was saying at the beginning of our challenges, I mean, if you don't have the support, probably you feel very unmotivated or dismotivated, excuse me. So in this case, it's really getting a proper motivation from your side, of course, and really support anyone that is actually having ideas, right? So getting a proper engagement and also getting all these type of ideas being evaluated so you can start collecting data and making proper decisions for your business will remove a lot of non-value time or non-value activities that can give you actually better competitive position as well. So yes, like you're saying, very emotional sometimes, and we gotta be really supportive as managers and directors and staff, etc.
Totally agree. So before we go, and we agreed on that the skill side is really something that super excites both of us, and that we want to elaborate a little bit on more on what specific skill set does the key people to be able to implement this technology have. Let's look a little bit on the conclusions or the short-term future, right? What is going to happen now with this definitely an exponential growth in this field, specifically with the current situation and many companies realizing that some of the corporate people that used to travel 80% of the year are now stuck in their office and then don't necessarily get the data that they used to gather on the planned trips. So what do you think is the key takeaway for the short, midterm future, let's say 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I guess the very first key takeaway is really that we need to be considering that data is power, right? I mean, you really need to be actually very conscious that data is really power, and you can leverage out of that. So it gets you into this strong position to be competitive. So it takes a strategy, right, and tactics to get there. So even if we have all this type of pandemic condition where we're not able to be traveling or visiting our sites and seeing by ourselves, we're able to be seeing data. We're able to be seeing things, or to be actually monitoring behaviors or so. We are actually, all of us are having on a smartphone. We're having all the different technologies that enable us to be getting all this data in front of us. So proper steps need to be very well planned in order to be moving forward in a very short term. So another very important thing in 1 to 3 years is really involve all our key stakeholders from our businesses, right? Making sure that they also are conscious, and we can get into a better position and look to automate all this data collection. I see that evaluating all this data periodically and fine tuning all of your outputs, you are able to be getting into better position, right? And I see that in 1 to 3 years, people will get very interested and get the proper skills. There are tons of courses in any different sources that we can actually start learning. So you don't need to be specifically on one big university or to be proficient. So you just need to start most of the times and start gathering data and start working over the direction that can leverage better position for you. So in 1 to 3 years, you probably can start, of course, getting knowledge, getting more involved, and implementing in places where are key or powerful for your business or for your life as well. So you are moving into this direction. And I see after 3 years that most of us will be more driven by data. As humans, we always like to be taking the uncertainty away. So it's very key now to be getting more documented and get the front of this type of trend that we're seeing with data collection.
Very interesting. So before we jump into the skills of the 3 key profiles, which is the data scientist, the big data specialist, and the data analyst, give us the key skill for the supervisors and managers, right? Or even like the executives. Like what do, and some of them are generation Y, some of them are already millennials, but still we not necessarily know how to program algorithms right now. So what's the skill that we need to acquire to be able to lead or be part of doing strategies, and then have the real profound technical skill guys, hire them, and then have them execute?
Right. I think as leaders, one of our skills, or the skills that we need to be having, is really a way to be supportive to all this type of technology, right? And also open to the change. We will be seeing things that you need to be either fine tuning, like I was mentioning a little earlier, or to be as well defining a strategy and output. So really, as leaders, we gotta help on creating the vision and creating what it has to be done over the next years. And of course, again, coaching or really mentoring our people in order to be getting into that position. We as leaders are not perfect, right? We don't have all the information. We are not programming. We are not doing all this data analytics. So we need to be sensing all these type of skills and people that can get us there. So that's another big skill as leader, to be identifying those skills that people will have, and also to be getting them in the proper position, in the proper place, so they can help us up to be moving forward. So it's very important to be very well informed, to be very well conscious, and of course, identifying the opportunities with our people and moving forward together as well.
Okay, gotcha. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a key skill regarding programming that we need to acquire. It's more understanding the technology, the problems that it can solve, and defining the problems that we have in the businesses specifically for the people, so they can actually use the tools to solve them, right? So I like that, because it really, if I think that for a specific technology to be able to point out the vision, you need to be an expert in the technology. It's going to be very tough for this technology really to penetrate the industry. But I get it. So for us, it's important to be able to connect the dots, to be able to know enough, so we know what it means maybe to hardware, what it means to investment, and then, as you said, right, be able to coach the key people to get the right people on board, and give them the ability to work with the tools to solve the problems.
That is very key. Yeah, that is very key. And we will not know everything, right? But we know where to go and what to do. And I think one special factor is how passionate you are to be learning, how passionate you are able to get your team also and engage with this type of ideas, so we can actually be ahead. So it's very important to be having this type of vision of growth.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's a good statement. So now for the last part of the session, I'm sure that there is people that's going to see this or seeing this right now who are more on the management level, more on the supervision level, more pointing out the vision, and you have described what is needed on that side. But I'm sure there's young people that say, you know what, it's really a field that interests me. What are the roles or what are the jobs that are being created in this field right now? Because that's what I'm seeing is huge. Like there is, you can't get enough data scientists, right? Universities that are not producing enough people. Some of the people that used to do other stuff in the past now are retraining themselves to get into that, right? And specifically in the US, I think it's huge right now. So let's look at 3 profiles, and then if you can explain it for us a little bit more in depth. What does each profile mean? What does their job actually look like? And what have you seen regarding availability of the profile in Mexico?
Very good. Yes, definitely. Thank you. I guess you can see 3 different type of profiles, right? One is more data scientist, then another one on big data specialist, and another one is more data analysis. So I will start from this one. I mean, it's more about programming skills, statistical skills, mathematics background, machine learning skills, data wrangling skills, communication, of course, and data intuition. So I wanted to start with this one because that's pretty much actually the one that has more skills to pursue, right? But as you can see, you can start as a data scientist, just getting in deep in knowledge of potential algorithms or things to be working, platform SQL database, so something that we might be having already up front. So you can see that if you get to if you want to be getting into a data analyst, there is a path, right, that you can follow. And it's not too complicated. Once you are getting into data mining and also to be knowing about it, you are able to actually be developing this intuition. I would say it's very important to be creating data intuition. That way you can get very, very good in data analyst position. But again, in the middle, some analytical skills. I guess everybody will have some sort of analytical skills. As you are saying, people from auto industry that typically, as you and me are thinking very square and different things and looking to be very analytical and know reasons and background of the things, is really suitable to this type of conditions. And again, there are different courses around. The programming skills is something that will get you into this level, of course. But it's very important to be really be passionate about data collection and the things that you're going to be pursuing in mathematical skills.
Very interesting. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And I do believe that from an economical side, those jobs are and will be well paid. That's for sure. Right? It's very tough to now replace those people. Right? There's a skill, a good skill that a lot of people, specifically here in the northern Mexico, if you're in your university right now, it's a very good path to get into. I think most of the university do parts of it, but also, as you just said, there is platforms, even free platforms or very inexpensive learning platforms where you can get basic information, and then you go from there. You get into the forums, right? You get on Reddit. You get into the groups, and you train yourself and do examples, and that's where you really acquire that skill. That's awesome.
Definitely.
I think most of the people don't realize the potential right now and the quantity of people that we need in the future in this specific area as well.
Definitely. And people will say, I mean, I'm very limited because I don't have money. I'm very limited because I don't have the time. So there are different platforms, right? I mean, you can use podcasts. You can use, of course, Google in order to be looking into this type of information. I mean, simple ones to start with. And then as you go, there are different books, things that you can also use in order to be leveraged in this, of course. As you move forward, you will get more passionate, right? So there are different sources. And I'm sure that the people that is looking for this type of conditions in order for implementing or to be implementing things in their life or their businesses, they can get a lot of resources as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Awesome. So thank you very much. I think it was a very nice short framework between what was happening in the past, right? Mostly
right.
Historic data. Then and now we are moving into live data and analyzing this live data. And now in the future, I'm sure it's going to continue to grow. It's going to be more predictive, right? That's
right.
Key, and that's going to be of a lot of value for the companies. When we look at machine downtime, when we look at the availability, material availability, I think it can be solved for sure with this kind of analysis.
Right.
So, and then of course in the skill part, I liked it a lot. Now, if there are people that you just mentioned some of it at the end of the session, I always since Bruno proposed it, we do this session. It's called a link, a book, and the like. I think if we give the people 3 areas or parts where you think you have gathered some key information to be able to understand in depth this field of data, it would be awesome for you to share it, please.
Yeah, I mean, I have, I have different forums that you can follow. I mean, on the podcasting, there is different places where data analytics are being discussed. I mean, I do have some of them, but I'm really passionate about one book that is called Too Big Data to Ignore. That's a book that I think everybody has to read. It's from Phil Simons. I have it here actually. Sometimes I open it just for quick reference or so. So I'm having here as well. I think that one gives you a complete broad idea of all the things that you are able to do. So it's not only manufacturing. I just want to point out it's also bank services, any other different small business that does sell in Facebook or so, or any other different platform. So this book actually gives you a lot of vision about it. I will say that one is one, and I do like Phil Simons, by the way. So that will be the two guys right now, or the 2 things. Phil Simons, and of course Phil Simons, excuse me, and this book that he actually launched a while ago. So it's very good. It gives you a complete idea. And actually, in my opinion, I mean, personally, I got the very good understanding from his book as well. So I really recommend it to everyone.
Very nice. And maybe a platform that you think where people can get some learning experience, some information.
Well, I mean, I've been seeing, to be honest, I don't have one this moment in my mind, but I've been seeing very good ones on LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, people that actually is very proficient on that part. I doesn't come one right now to my mind, one of them, but you can find many of those. I mean, I think we can post in one of our other different areas, one of them, and I can show you. I've been reading so many of them that I don't remember at this moment.
No, that's fine. And I agree.
But the book is very good.
LinkedIn Learning has been huge. Like that the
Yep.
courses are very well made. They're very inexpensive or even for free. And then
Yep.
then you follow the people that made the courses, and you can see that there is much more depth behind than what they show in the initial course. So yeah, I totally
Right.
agree. I think education has been more democratized in these times, and that's really good. That's really beneficial, specifically for not first world country, which I believe that if you have internet access, which is also a privilege already, that you can have access to very, very good content. Make sure that you validate the content and then go from there. That's really
Definitely. Just really validated contents and validated courses are actually best. And like I said, some of them are for free, right? I mean, LinkedIn is actually posting most of them. They are actually very valuable to everyone. So I will encourage everyone to go there as well.
Perfect. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you for your time on this sunny Saturday morning. Really, really great. I think I personally got some key takeaways from this session. That's really something that I appreciate a lot. Thank you, Gilberto. I know we're gonna keep in touch for sure.
Definitely.
We're gonna be around, and for sure, any questions that come up on the show later, what's from the people, of course, we're gonna try to answer as well. So I appreciate this a lot, and have a great Saturday.
Thanks a lot, Stefan, and thanks to everyone that is hearing us. So good luck.
Good luck. Bye-bye.
Bye now.